Alright, so today we're going to be looking at Valorant. We're going to just be talking about post plant, and specifically, we're going to be talking about playing as a team and how the spike plant is more important than people give it credit for. So we're going to look at this two ways. One, just putting spike in default and playing out a post plant scenario that way, and then we're going to try this into a more optimal spot. So first off, we're going to be on Haven. We're going to start by looking at C site here. And let's just say that the enemy team is just pushing on and they have a good comp and they have all the stuff that they need to play for a retake. So you guys get the site and you just plant default. If you plant default, this ends up becoming okay, now let's just say we have like our duelist here, maybe a chamber here, someone playing garage, and then maybe brimstone long and like a breach or something along the lines of here, because this would allow for trades. So like let's say they swing out here, you get trades as soon as they peek logs. You can have your player over here peek out, or actually he could just play like right here, and then he could just peek out here, and then Jet can peek out at the same time, and then you got a three-man peek, um, and that's how that can be played. But let's say that they peek out, it gets a little dicey. Chamber has to TP back, and then they kill Jet and they kill Breach or whoever the two players there are, and then so now it's like a 3v4 or 3v5. This ends up becoming a major problem because if you're playing for time now, this ends up being okay. Well, now you can't peek unless your person long is walking up to peek, and your person here also has to line up with you. So you end up in a situation where they can have someone stick it, and then your two players have to start walking up long. And I'm sure you guys have been through this many times before, where you're like watching a post plant and you're watching your team have to run it down into the site, and then they just get gunned down. It's like, oh gosh, this could actually have been avoided. And because of this, they have to walk and they end up super exposed to everything, and then boom, you lose. Now let's look at the same situation again, but let's say you plant in a more ideal spot, like right here, and you got, your people right here, 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 here. This ends up the same, literally the same setup. Just the only thing different is the spike is planted in a different spot. Now what happens is pretty crazy. We see they swing out. Let's say Chamber has to TP back here again, just like before, and then they kill the Jet, kill the Breach. It's a 3v5, or maybe a 3v4, or maybe a 3v3 even. But either way, this situation becomes a lot less scary for you guys, because now your player that's playing in garage has cover that they can jiggle between, and just by jiggling between the cover, they can still see the spike at like all times, and they have cover to jiggle between. So you get someone jiggling garage, and then now you got your chamber. Your chamber can just jiggle this, just barely peeking out at all, and then brimstone just barely peeking out. And so now you have a situation where all three of you have cover and have a situation where you can all just jiggle. And if you want, you can even use util and try to fight them. But if you're playing for time and you have to worry, and you're the enemy team and you have to worry about three people jiggling you with from safe spots, and you're just trying to defuse, it's gonna be like painful and almost impossible. And because of where it's planted, this allows for, even if this fails here and they're just stalling time, this player can even loop around if they just sprint. And as soon as they walk out, they just have to walk like 2 steps out on site, and then boom, they're immediately just going to see the planter, um, which just opens up a bunch of opportunities, because now if they didn't see the garage player before and these players are making themselves known, then now the enemies also have to be afraid of the flank or the garage push. So we can just see that just the plant alone makes it a whole world of difference if you're thinking about it. And you can just figure this out just by going into something like Valid Plant and just thinking about it and moving the spike around to see, well, where's the most places it can be peaked from safely. Now, if we do the same thing over here at A site, we're just going to do a normal plant and then a super good plant. So a lot of people I see in like lower elo will plant like right here, and I don't like this at all because this telegraphs everything that you're gonna do. Because if you think about it, like what are you gonna do? You know, like you can't play hell, you can't play here, you can't play here, can't play here, can't play over here, can't play here. You can't even play anywhere in long. The only place you can play ends up being, here we'll use purple, is here or in short. So there's only two places you can even play when you plant like this. So that means if you're the enemy, you just sort of do your normal clear and you just make sure that there aren't people there. And they can't really play a post plant. So if you get any information that the spike is planted here, maybe by just having someone jiggle from heaven, then that player can really relay to the team that like, oh, it's planted right here. So they're not really playing for post plant. They're either gonna be in short and like right over here, or most of their team's gonna be on site trying to play trades and try to just kill us. So then they can play accordingly. And when they retake, they keep that in mind. These players can't really do anything because they can't peek the spike or do anything. Neither can they. So then they have someone stick the spike. If you have anyone playing long or playing in garage or anything, they have to walk all the way out, have to walk all the way up, and it's the same problem. And then so all the people on their team can just watch this area. Same situation, move this just a little bit over here. And boom, now this enters into a situation where you can have someone there. You can even have someone playing on box. You can have someone playing down here. You can have someone playing short. And this is even better for short because you only have to walk up like a step or two. And then you're right back to cover. And you can see the spike. You can peek from right side. You can peek from left side. Um, it just opens up so many different opportunities for gameplay where you can just jiggle and stall time or just play as a team. Now, the big question that comes to mind is, okay, well, if that's true, then why is this not universal? Why doesn't everyone do this? The answer for that is, well, because if you do this in your solo duo game, it's probably not going to work because these same principles are going to be used against you if you're playing a solo duo team where, you know, you don't really have a team, they just all are doing their own thing. Because if you're trying to plant on site and you got like your typical jet and or whatever normal duelist that just is playing like they're a sentinel for some reason and they're playing way the heck back, or they just ran in and died and didn't clear sight, then it means whenever you're planting, you're exposed to hell, heaven. They could be behind box here. They could be over here. They could be everywhere. That was a problem for the people retaking. So this is really, really good if you're playing a 5 stack or playing as an actual team because you can make sure you get the site and you get the plant down and then you play post plant. So it's really good to have a plan in mind of what you're going to do with the spike and to communicate that to your team. Like when I play solo duo, I try to do the same sort of thing. I just do like a modified version where it's just a little bit safer. And I tell them that. And so like over here, just a little bit safer. Instead of planting in this corner here, would just be planting like right here or all the way up here. But I don't, if I can, I love to get a plant right here because it's just so good. But yeah, so that's how you can really play a post plant when it comes to just planting the spike alone. You can see how many different options that opens up. Because if you plant in a spot and you telegraph to the enemy that like, okay, because it's planted here, and you telegraph to them, they know exactly where you're gonna be, and you're just increasing your chances of losing dramatically on like every single level. So just by thinking a little bit before you plant, you can get a lot more value out of that, and you'll start to see yourself climb and even start to win more rounds you didn't think winnable. That being said, moral of the story: think before you plant.